Captain America. Brave New World just dropped, and it's a mess. But before we get into this is a spoiler-free breakdown of Captain America. Brave New World. I'm not here to walk you through every single event in the movie. Instead, I just want to share my thoughts and talk about what went wrong with this movie. Because while this movie is fine for a casual watch, if you're a Marvel fan who was hyped for this, you're probably going to be disappointed. But between the horrendous CGI, the ridiculous plot holes, and some of the worst action physics in the MCU, this film felt more like a Sony movie disguised in Disney colors. And the craziest part? This movie went through multiple reshoots, endless rewrites, and a $500 million budget. So, how exactly did it go wrong? This is Raffaello with Infinite Origins, and let's break down Captain America Brave New World. Let's talk about the story, or more accurately, the lack of one. Because Brave New World doesn't really feel like a Captain America movie. It feels like a collection of rewritten ideas stitched together into a barely coherent plot. This movie went through multiple reshoots and script rewrites, and it shows. Scenes feel disconnected, major events lack impact, and the stakes practically non-existent. At no point does this movie feel like an important chapter in the MCU. It's just filler. Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson is Captain America now, and that's awesome. I love his portrayal, and he deserved a strong story. Instead, he's stuck in a movie where he's barely the focus. He doesn't have the super soldier serum, but does the movie ever make that feel like a major obstacle? Nope. The story doesn't explore how he's different from Steve Rogers in any meaningful way. It just exists. Then there's the villain setup. The leader was supposed to be a major mastermind villain, and yet he feels completely wasted. His big plan? Underwhelming. His presence? Barely felt. Instead of being this intimidating, long-awaited genius, he's just another forgettable MCU villain. And then, there's the biggest letdown of all, Red Hulk. But before that, let's discuss one of the worst offenses in this movie, the physics. And I mean, wow. This was supposed to be Red Hulk's big live-action debut. We have been waiting for this moment for years. And what do we get? A nerfed, underwhelming, barely impactful version of Red Hulk. Let's start with the physics problem. There's a scene where Red Hulk straight up punches Sam Wilson. And not just a light punch. I'm talking about a full-force, gamma-powered punch. Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum. He's just a highly trained fighter in a suit. And yet, he gets hit by a Hulk-level punch and just rolls over, stands up, and keeps going. Are you serious? That should have put him in a coma. And before anyone says, but he's wearing a vibranium suit. No. Vibranium can absorb force, but it doesn't stop the laws of physics. The energy from that hit still needs to go somewhere. Even if the suit absorbed some of the impact, Sam's internal organs aren't made of vibranium. He should have been at least knocked out. But nope. He's fine. It completely kills the stakes. How are we supposed to believe Red Hulk is dangerous when his attacks feel like a light breeze? And speaking of Red Hulk, his CGI has been wow. When the first trailers for Brave New World dropped, Red Hulk's CGI looked atrocious. And I'm not just talking meh. I mean PlayStation 3 graphics, fan edit level bad. The texture looked flat, the lighting was completely off, and he barely looked finished. Marvel fans immediately called it out. And to their credit, Marvel actually improved it. Now that the final version of the movie is out, I'll admit the CGI is better than what we saw in the trailers. But let's be real, it's still not great. And for a movie that cost $500 million, it should be photorealistic. Marvel has done better before. Look at Thanos in Infinity War. Look at Hulk in Endgame. Those characters felt real. But Red Hulk, he still sticks out like a sore thumb. The texture is too smooth, the movement feels unnatural, and there are moments where he doesn't even cast proper shadows. It's crazy to think that a movie with this much budget and this many delays still couldn't get its CGI right. And the worst part, it ruins the weight of the character. Red Hulk is supposed to be terrifying, but the visuals make it hard to take him seriously. If your CGI isn't convincing, then your entire villain's presence is ruined. And speaking of villains, let's talk about the leader, because somehow he was even worse. This was supposed to be his big return. Ever since that tease in The Incredible Hulk, fans have been waiting for the leader to make his grand entrance as one of the smartest, most calculating villains in the MCU. But instead, we got whatever this was. First off, his design. What is this? They somehow made MODOK and Quantumania look better than this, and that's saying something. The CGI on his enlarged brain looks unfinished, and instead of making him look intimidating and brilliant, he just looks goofy. The leader is supposed to be a mastermind-level villain, someone who outsmarts the heroes, manipulates the situation, and plays 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But in this movie, he's just there, and that's the biggest problem. He doesn't do anything memorable. There's no major master plan, no huge reveal, no moment where you sit back and go, oh damn, that's genius. He's just just another forgettable MCU villain. It's like they took a character with so much potential and said, hey, just throw him in there. And here's the worst part. If this was his only shot in the MCU, then that's it. This is all we're gonna get from the leader. After years of buildup, this is how they finally use him? It's like Marvel has forgotten how to make good villains. Remember when we had Loki, Killmonger, Thanos? Now we get whatever this is. Honestly, I don't even know who was supposed to be the main threat in this movie. Red Hulk? The leader? The government? There's no clear dominant villain. And when you don't have a strong antagonist, the stakes just fall apart. Speaking of things falling apart, let's talk about the script. Because this movie went through so many rewrites that the final version feels like a Frankenstein mess. Section 6. The writing and rewrites. A mess of ideas tea. It's like they took a bunch of different ideas, mashed them together and hoped for the best. And the result? A movie with no real direction. Every time a scene starts, it feels like it was added last minute. There's no clear flow to the story, no sense of progression. It's like Marvel wasn't sure what kind of movie they wanted to make. Did they want this to be a political thriller like The Winter Soldier? Did they want it to be a personal journey for Sam Wilson? Or did they just want a mindless action flick? It tries to do all of them, and fails at everything. And this isn't the first time Marvel has done this. Lately, it feels like every movie has had last-minute changes, reshoots, and panic rewrites. And you can always tell. The plot feels stitched together, the dialogue feels generic, and the characters feel like they're just saying whatever moves the plot forward. And you know how you can really tell this movie had too many cooks in the kitchen? The tone is all over the place. One moment, we're supposed to take things seriously, and the next, we get forced jokes that completely kill the tension. It's like the movie can't decide if it wants to be a gritty, serious Captain America story or another quippy, generic MCU movie. And when you mix all of this together, a weak script, a rushed production, a villain that doesn't work, and CGI that still looks unfinished, you start to wonder, where did that $500 million budget go? So after everything, where does Brave New World rank in the MCU? Honestly, it's bottom tier. And look, I wanted to like this movie. I like Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I was excited for Red Hulk. I was curious to see the leader's return, but none of it landed. It's just another bland, forgettable, formulaic Marvel movie. It does nothing new, takes no risks, and honestly, it feels like a filler episode for the MCU. If you're a casual fan who just wants to see some action and explosions, you'll probably have an okay time. But if you were actually excited for this movie, expecting a strong, character-driven story like The Winter Soldier, you're going to walk away disappointed. At this point, Marvel needs to wake up. Fans are tired of half-baked, soulless, CGI-heavy, messy movies. If they want to bring the MCU back to its prime, they need to start focusing on real storytelling, real stakes, and real consequences. Otherwise, we're going to keep getting movies like this. But hey, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Captain America: Brave New World. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more brutally honest reviews.